Welcome to step 19 or whatever it is. We got the new tube in, and look, it's warm enough to not wear gloves. So today we got to try to get rid of that and put that in and hook it up and be done. Let's see if it actually works. Well, it looks like the right stuff. The sealing clay is in here again. Must have something to do with this. I'll have to look that up. And they sent the whole kit, so I've got, everything I need plus more to wrap it, tape it, and do all that stuff. So let's get this stretched out and actually get that one down first. All right, and I left these connected because I didn't know how long this was going to be, whether even just loose. And we've had some pretty bad weather, but so those are loose. And I probably should have put this cover on. I wasn't thinking, but so that's that one. That's that one. And I just take it inside and pull it through. That's not working. Got the wrong size. Huh. This is the right size, just a tough angle to get at in there. That's all. I love undoing things I did. Oh, no, I lost that. Fantastic. Where'd that stupid thing go? Oh, somewhere. Oh, down there on the ground. Same thing here. Just inconvenient as heck. Now let's see if I can get this one out without dropping it. I can. Hang it up there. We'll put that up there for safekeeping. See? That's where I hung the other one. Now I got to disconnect in there. All right, now we get to take the broken stuff off here. This one's on 30 psi, or pounds, foot-pounds, I should say. And that one's about 4. Should be able to do, yep. That's how non-tight that one was. It just cracked as soon as there was any pressure. Oh, I loosened these up, didn't I? So I'm lying. Well, that's going to be interesting. That looks like a two-hand thing. I know, it just popped right off of there. This was just seated a little bit inside that rubber ring, so I should be able to push that through, pull it through, whatever. So back to the other side. All right, I'm gonna pull this through. You all have no idea how much I hate doing this crap. The only thing I hate more, paying somebody to do this. There we go, one pre-charged broken line down. Probably pull that off and recycle the copper. There we go, and I've decided that pulling that insulation off is a job for a 12-year-old, unless it actually just comes right off. I don't think it does. I think it's actually, oh, yeah. I can take 30 seconds to do that. I thought I'd have to cut it. Now the question is any of this worth keeping? This insulation stuff. I don't know. I'll never use the copper. I know you can use it for gas pipe and stuff like that, but it's not rated right, so recycling it is. All right, I have helpers. So last time I hooked up the other end first. I think I'm gonna push this end through first and then bend it around, and then I'll have more to work with when I push through there rather than pushing through there, and then kind of snake in that end through and around on this side. That was a little sketchy. So we'll start on this end and go the other way. Now last time I straightened this out, and I think that was a mistake, because if you look at this right here, there's a nice bend in that pipe that I don't have to undo. I can just stick that right through that little hole up there, and I've got a nice 90-degree bend. So that's the plan. We'll see how that works. Okay, there it is coming through. I had to twist these around a little bit and reshape them. And I'm just gonna put them on a couple threads so that these seals are not sitting out here exposed. Yeah, good footage, huh? While I'm trying to do the rest of this. So I'm gonna finish this in just a second. All right, and I just got those on just enough, you know, they're just enough so that they can handle a little tweaking. You know, I'm not gonna strip the threads, so it's a couple threads in. And I don't know that this is gonna be any easier. Now I gotta try to bend that around and make it all work. What a pain. All right, doing a gentle bend here. And I suspect this is gonna be too short. I suspect that I had the longer one and they sent me the shorter one. God dang it. Oh, I hope I'm wrong. All right, you can see we're doing a gentle bend here, and I just have to get up to there. All right, they're through. Got a few inches to go, a few inches to spare. And we have extra in here, so thankfully we have a big enough line set. All right, so now I'm gonna hook up the other end on the inside and then connect these things again. Oh, I am not having luck getting this started, and I don't know why. I don't think the threads are damaged at all. They feel and look good. I can't get it to take the first thread for some reason. I don't know, we'll keep trying. Still working at this. I have no idea what the issue is. This, you see this little lip right there? It's got to slide into that rubber gasket there in order to catch a thread. And that's the problem. It's not sliding in there like it should. So, God, it's always something, isn't it? So I think the issue is, since this has been backed out, this spring thing, there's a spring behind here, and it has caused this cap to come in and seat unevenly somehow, so that this can't get in there. Somehow I have to compress that spring back just a little bit while I try to get that first thread in. There. Got it on a couple of threads. That took 20 minutes, guys. 20 freaking minutes out of my life. It's not that I don't know how to line these up, man. It just wasn't going in. All right, let's hope this one goes a little better. I can't tell. Is that one set out? We'll see. All right, 20 seconds. 20 minutes, 20 seconds. I don't know. I just don't know, y'all. That's just crazy. Y'all, what am I, Southern? All right. Let's go anchor that side down now. Back on the ladder. Kind of gave it just a little gentle bend, and we'll deal with that end later, but we'll get this one in place. My screw is still up there, so we'll put that in place quick. All right, and that one's in. Over to the next one. All right, let's see. Here we go. Second one is in place. And they're really just kind of meant to prevent these things from ever moving out of place too much. So that's it. Now I just have that little bend to deal with, and we'll figure out what we're gonna do there. All right, I think what I'm gonna do is just attach this here. I'm concerned about this little bend here, because the rest of these are gentle bends. This one feels, like a kink. I'm not sure why this one would kink and this one wouldn't, but I'd be so mad if I had to order another one. God, I'd be mad. Okay, mystery solved. I cut this open. It is not kinked. This is just where that twisted copper meets the solid copper, and it compressed one of the twists, so it's not really kinked at all. It just is there to make me question my life choices. So we're just going to be careful not to put any more pressure on that. I'm going to try to put a little more bend right here in these to bring this back over. There we go. It's not really as much holding it as it is anti-vibration, I guess. I don't know if this is going to vibrate or not, but there we go. Somewhat professional. I still got to get a cover for that thing too. Somewhat professional. Now I get to tighten the nuts down and hope I don't break them. All right, gang, here we are again. 25 to 30 foot-pounds, 50 to 60. So I'm going 55 and 27. So what I'm going to do is set up the torque wrench for 27 and test it against the other torque wrench to make sure it's 27. I'll do the small one first, and then we'll do the big one. All right, and here we go, just so you can see the test, or try to see the test. This is set up. Let me see if I can do it this way. You see that? There's 20, and there's 30. Our line is below 30. This is at 7, so we're right at 27. So we should be good. What I'm going to do is take the old torque wrench here and put the new torque wrench in there and just check it. All right. All right, and I'm going to try to show you this test here. That's my old torque wrench, and you should be able to hear the new one click. So there we go. That's my test for 27. All right, and just like before, I'm going to take crescent wrenches and just take up the slack until it gets a little tight, and then we'll use the torque wrench. Okay, so that one's in there. And you see how far it is in here. This is taking up all these threads is the same until you get right to the end, then it snugs up, and then it's like maybe one turn. So now for the 60, actually, yeah, no, for the 60, I guess. All right, same drill as before. See if I can do this. So it snapped just before 60. I got it at like 56 or something like that, so that's about right. All right, that one didn't crack. I'm gonna test it for leaks real quick. All right, looks good. It'd bubble right up. It's like that, I don't know, sponge or something. You'd see it bubbling. Nothing on the back sides. So I'm gonna clean that up and we can go connect the outside. All right, the outdoor ones are easier because they're attached. So we can take up all this slack. You can see it just using fingers. It's, you know, there's not much tension at all until you get right to the end. We're doing the big one first because it's already set for 60 pounds. All right, we got that one. I should say that you can snug this up, but as soon as you get tight, you do have to have a wrench on this because this fitting won't take 60 pounds of torque, obviously, so, or 57. So this fitting, so you have to have a wrench there to get the last, once it snugs up. It's obvious when it snugs up. All right, next one, 27. All right, quick leak check. And there's no bubbles anywhere, so it's drained off most of it already. So onto that one, and just so you know, I did double check the torque wrench again. I'm so gun shy now. I double checked it to make sure it snaps at 27, and the 27 was the right weight and all that stuff, so, or foot-pounds, so here we go. In theory, no leaks on that one either. So, hallelujah. All right, I think we wrap these now and then put this cover on. So I figure out what we're gonna do to wrap these up. I gotta read up, there's, you know, a bunch of wrapping stuff and I haven't even read it yet to see what we're supposed to do. We'll figure that out here in a second. Okay, we're getting down to the point where we've got to turn these, or open these valves to let stuff in and then do a test run. But I'm gonna finish hooking up the electrical so we can do that test run. So that's step one. All right, here's step one in finishing off the electrical. I got the cover for this little box, and that's gonna be just a pain in the butt to get on there. All right, and that's on there. I was just checking to make sure I got that plug in there. Make sure all of our little knockouts are covered. Onto the circuit breaker. Alrighty, here we are. First thing, I shut the power off because I don't need to work on live breakers. And this, is this the right one? Yeah, it's gonna go right there. So away we go. I'm pausing here because I thought that this was supposed to be 15 amp. I'm gonna check that. Okay, so I can't use 20. It's a 230 volt system. It should be running 15s, not 20s. And I'm sure there's a reason why, but I can keep this one. I've got a air compressor that's going to need 20s. But I'm going to have to run to the hardware store now, get a 15. All right, I am out of luck. This is a BR220, 220, right? 220 amps. I need a BR215. The only hardware store in town that might have it is closed. They close at 1 o'clock on Saturdays. So I'm out of luck today. I'm going to wrap up a couple of other things. I've got Pepsi and I've got these things. What I'm going to do is secure that cable from the, or that electrical connection from the outside. Talking about that cable there. It's no big deal. I just control kind of a better control of how it's up against the building and make sure it drips in the right spot and looks a little more professional, I guess. So we'll get that taken care of at least. All right, that's it. I don't know how professional it looks, but it establishes a low spot away from both, so water will drain down instead of into the connections here. So should be good. Well, I found this. It's a surge trap. Apparently this is supposed to go on the outside disconnect box. So you run it through a knockout there and make it work, I suppose. Anyhow, so yeah, I got to wire that in, and I didn't know I had to wire that in. That's not in any instructions. It's just, this was in the box. So I looked it up, and I guess that's what you're supposed to do. All right, here we are at the disconnect box. Put that up there. So, and the power's off. Well, I don't have a breaker. So this is supposed to come from on the line side. So they're supposed to be connected there. And in theory, they're supposed to pigtail as opposed to putting 2 under a lug. I'm just going to put 2 under a lug. All right, and I hope, what are the odds that this is going to fit in here? The building is too, I have to come in underneath, huh? I won't be able to come out like that. So probably like this on this side. Right? I think that's probably where I go. Yeah, so we'll try that. All right, and that is in there. Those knockouts, man, they come out hard. I gotta tighten it down a little bit, but it's in there, and then we'll trim these wires to fit. And away we go. All right, and there's L1, L2 going those two lines. So that's the supply side, or whatever you call it, line, and this is the load, whatever. So that's in there. And again, that wasn't in the instructions as well, so just got to kind of figure that out. Now I think I'm going to go put this back together and see about putting that, what you call it, technical term, the Wi-Fi thing in there in the indoor unit. I haven't found where that goes, so let's go take care of the Wi-Fi now. And that's what it looks like from the bottom side. So in theory, when it's working in power, that little LED will turn on and we'll be able to tell that it's protecting. I don't know how long those things last, but if that's something I got to keep replacing every time it burns out or gets cold or something, I'm gonna quickly remove that. But let's go see about Wi-Fi now. All right, you would think the USB thing's under there. It's not. It's up here, and you have to take this thing off. There's a screw. It snaps in, so you got to pry this back and pry it open, and then the USB thing goes in there. So I'll put that in there and then snap that back in place. I would not have expected that, but that's okay. It comes with this little code, this QR code, which I assume is to scan to help set it up. I think that's what that's for. So I'll read through this quick, make sure. But I think that will end up going probably down here so I can scan it the next time I need to set it up. There it is, snapped in place. So now we can put this thing back in here. We can do that while holding a phone. Nope. All right, there it is. That screw is back in place now. That's the one you got to take out. And this is, I assume, the antenna for that. Hopefully it reaches the garage next door. That would suck if it didn't. And then there are these two QR codes, one to download the Android app, one to download iOS. And then this must be like the individual unit number or something like that. So I'm still going to stick it on there because otherwise they wouldn't have given it to me. So we'll see how that works. All right, and I stuck that on the side so I wouldn't be looking at a QR code the rest of my life. And that's all in there. So in theory, when we get electricity, we'll be good to go. Next up is this stuff. Sealing clay. There's not a mention of that in the book at all. After extensive online research, you're supposed to use that to plug the holes where it goes through the wall. That seems sketchy at best, but I'll open it up and see. I'll try it on the inside here first and see what happens, but I'm not holding out a lot of hope for that. Well, I've tapped my inner artist here to do this clay project. This seems like a sketchy solution to me, but you know, this, I don't have that plastic ringer on there. Actually, I do on the other side, but you're supposed to pack it from the inside, so I guess. But here's a key point. You are not doing this when it's cold. This would be impossible a little bit ago. Here, it's a 60-degree day now. So even this morning, this would have been not an option. It doesn't seem like the best solution to me. It seems like a little bit of expanding foam is a better option, but I'll do it on the other one too. Okay, it has occurred to me that I should probably wrap those on the outside before I finish putting that clay on. So I'm going to go wrap those with that vinyl, whatever it is, that vinyl tape. Let's see. And then get that tape through there and then seal it. Alright, so I wrapped this, and I'll bet you're expecting this to be sticky. It is not. I was expecting it to be sticky. It's just like a vinyl ribbon of some sort. And so, presumably, I don't know, you wrap this and tape the ends or something. I don't know. Alright, and I jammed that in there. I wrapped it as good as I could and jammed that in there, and I'm going to try to fill in around it with clay, and hopefully that holds. Well, there it is. This is my first time using clay as a building material. I'm sure ancient cultures have existed for thousands of years making stuff out of clay, but they weren't in northern Wisconsin either, so we'll see how that works out. I think I'll add a little more right there. Alright, and then there's some sound deadening tape that's supposed to go around these, but I gotta wait until I turn them on so I can test for leaks and all that stuff before I put that on. That goes all the way down through here, so I'll end up kind of unwrapping and rewrapping that. And there's kind of the finished product on the inside. There's that vinyl coming through where it's tucked in to hold it. I can imagine this coming apart pretty easily. Alright, and I'll probably tape that back down where I cut in there. Maybe I'll wrap that. And there it is, just a little bit of yellow duct tape holding it in place. Good enough for now. Okay, there's one other thing here that this comes with. See that right there? That's a drain. It comes with this little drain tube thing. I presume if you're sitting it on a slab or something, but I do not want to put this in because I just want it dripping straight down, I think. I can't imagine why I want this in there. The instructions say that you don't need to, so I'm not going to. Alright, one more thing. I put a little bit of that clay around this drain tube. It goes out here. I don't know. Keep the bugs out, I guess. Whoops. I don't know that clay is going to stay. I don't know. I know. Been using clay for thousands of years. It's a fine building material. I'm just not used to it. Alright, well, hopefully that keeps the bugs out and drains the water. Alright, nothing too exciting. We're back on day whatever. We got double pole 15 amp breaker. So now we get to try to test this. So I gotta open the valves. Big scary moment. Okay, back up here now. We gotta take this thing off and get access to those valves behind there and then open them up. So let's do that. Alright, and then these just come off. We're supposed to do one at a time, so I will. And they take a 5mm. You're supposed to open it as far as it goes. So we'll see how that works. There we go. This is where all the refrigerant leaks out into the atmosphere, I guess. But you're supposed to back it all the way out to there. Put this thing back on. And then torque it down a little bit. And soap it up. So I got my friendly leak detector soap, so I'm going to do that now. And it doesn't look like there's anything foaming up anywhere. You'd see it. It foams up really big. Alright, on to the next one. And I didn't film the other one. It's the same thing. You pull this off and open it up. And it's good. Now you're supposed to go do the check. So that's the next step, is to check the system. All right, let's see if I can do that. Okay guys, this is the scariest thing. All right, so that's on. And I have to do a 5-minute test run. All right, here we go. All right, here we go, I guess. Power on. That's good, I got no power. I don't know. How do you tell if you have power? I have power there. So how do I know if I have power there? I don't have power there. Heat. All right. Well, I gotta figure this out. This is gonna be fun. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have heat. Oh my gosh, and no leaks outside. I gotta test that one yet. See if there's any leaks. But the issue with the electric was that I had the plastic piece in the box outside that was in upside down, so it was in the off position instead of the on position. So that's all that was. All right, I gotta test that. The leak's right there. All right, and there's no big foaming leaks here, no little foaming leaks either, so we should be okay. I've put a lot of stuff on there. So I gotta clean that up, declare it leak-free, and make sure this goes down a little bit here after all of our monkeyed around with the pipes. Great cinematic effort there. After all our monkeyed around with this line set, you want to make sure that that stays at a constant downward angle so the water just kind of trickles out. And we should be good to go here. All right, I'm gonna clean up. All right, and I cleaned it up there. And in theory, we have heat. There's hot air coming. If you stand right here, you can kind of feel it blowing. It's not overwhelming, obviously, but yeah, it'll heat it up in here, keep the cold out a little bit. We hope. We'll see how it goes. We have to run a cold test here in a minute or two. And I guess I got to get up there because if the ambient temperature is under 60 degrees, you have to manually flip a switch up there to flip it into cold weather operating mode, I guess. So I got to do that next. I'm not looking forward to dumping air conditioning in here, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. Okay, since it's below 60 degrees outside, we're supposed to run a manual cool test. There's supposed to be an auto cool button somewhere in here. I don't remember seeing one of those, so I'll take this off one last time. I don't think there's an auto cool thing. And end up calling support. Let's see if I'm wrong. All right, ready for the big reveal? Do you think there's an auto cool button? Dun, dun, dun. Not unless that's it. Is that it? that an auto cool button? I don't know if I'm supposed to shut this off first. Let me shut it off first. And just so everybody knows my confusion, that's what the auto cool button is supposed to look like, and it's supposed to be located there. Guys, instructions frickin' matter. I don't know how... God, it drives me nuts. Alright, I'm just going to call support. That is the switch. It turns on AC.
In case you don't have the remote, you can turn stuff on there.
It's for testing, I guess, but that's what it is, so... That would have been nice to have a picture of, but we're getting cooling, so now I gotta run it for 5 minutes.
That was part of the test?
Yep. Alright, there's the cool test. Done. I'm calling it done. And I connected to the Wi-Fi. So it is definitely 2026 now. I downloaded the app and everything works, so that's awesome. So now I'm going to make it warm in here for a minute and enjoy my warm shop. So that's all there was to it. I'm going to warm it up and I'm going to wrap those things. And I got some wrapping of that vinyl tape to do, and that's it. Alright, so these are supposed to be sound deadening pads. You put those on first, and then you wrap it in this according to what I'm seeing here. You put that on, and then kind of wrap it. So, and then probably wrap it in that vinyl stuff. So that's the plan here. I'll take this. I'm not really sure. It shows these on the inside unit. I don't know if I have enough for the outside unit as well. Let me check. Yeah, so it looks like it's showing them on... This is like the outside unit because it's offset from the wall there. Or is that the head unit? That's probably the head unit. And then this is meant to be outside. Looks like this is outside here. So I think it's supposed to be around both. But I don't have enough to go around both unless these are two-piece, but I think they're just one piece. So I don't know if I'm missing sound deadening pads somewhere. But it looks like I'm missing sound deadening pads. I'm not sure the exact use for these things, but I can call support tomorrow and find out whether I'm supposed to have another set for outside. But I'll put them on the inside for now. And we'll call that a day. Alright, and I'm not sure that that's as professional as they want it to look, but professional enough for me. And those pipes are hot when this thing is running. So now I just gotta get this foam on. And thankfully, because I had a blown, what do you call it? Line set. I've got a lot of that stuff, so I can put that on there because heat loss in the copper is the key, I think. So I gotta get this down so it's a constant downhill, and then we'll kind of wrap that up. All right, I'll call tomorrow about getting these for the outside. All right, and they give you these, which is basically pipe wrap with a tape around it. I think you're supposed to put that on there and then tape. All right, and that's the pipe wrap kind of taped on there. It's kind of a genuinely sticky experience. This stuff is sticky. Anyway, I'm not sure if I'm gonna maybe wrap this stuff in something else, but definitely gonna get some more pipe wrap right in here. Just a little short piece to cover this section. Okay, and I put two little pieces here and spliced it, so that should be good. And I'm gonna wrap that vinyl tape around this stuff here and be good to go. All right, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a wrap. All right. So all we have left to do is maybe wrap the outside and wrap the outside and see if those covers need to go on there. I put those black insulating things on there, so if we don't have to put the sound barrier things on it, then all I have to do is wrap it tomorrow and I'm done. So we're gonna call it done. All right, we're gonna call it done. We're standing in the heat in the shop. It took way longer than it should have. The instructions were pretty terrible. You got the general idea, but there was a lot of guessing. We had some bad parts. What else? Bad instructions, bad parts, good customer service, and eventually we finished. So there you have it. Blue Ridge Alpine Air finally installed and working. Hallelujah.